is Black Spring again on your Tuesday with another Black Spring Mobile. And I have more progressive lunacy for you, but it's not to surprise. It may not stun you. If you are frequenters of this channel, you may be aware of this, of the trajectory, can I say, for the lack of a better word, or yeah, the entire agenda. But I would like to share a couple of things with you, but I want you guys to get in here before I start this, because I'm only going to do a couple of pieces here. And this is going to be it's going to be more of an economic kind of a stream that I'm going to speak to. Some economic issues. Yeah, and then just for another little nugget, I guess it's going to be interesting with this whole racism narrative, because it seems like Black History Month is shaping up to be, a twist the knife or whatever. I don't know. I guess it'll be interesting for those of you that are going to watch the Super Bowl, that the commercials, maybe the commercials will steal the show. I guess again, some people, that's the only reason that they watch the Super Bowl. But I do think it's probably going to be heavy laden with propaganda, you know. And I think personally that propaganda itself is a bit of a V word, dare I say, a contagion, that we're dealing with. And some people just can't, the discernment, they can't, they can't really. So we'll see what happens. So I'm trying to give you guys a chance to get in here. Yeah, I'd like to get going here. So what I want to tell you, I do have a liner for you. I do have a liner for you, and it comes out of the summit.news. Summit.news is where this one's coming out. And it's entitled "The Technocrats Demand Meat Tax to Fight Climate Change." I'm pretty sure there's going to be heavy censorship on this topic. So, I noticed that I titled it "To Beef or Not to Beef" on your Tuesday. So hopefully you guys can get in here and we'll see what happens. I'm not seeing anyone just yet. It's been 3 minutes. 3 minutes just now. I'm going to try to give you a few more minutes to get in. We'll see how this shapes up. I may do a little bit of a switcheroo and come back myself. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Let's see. Just checking here. Just checking here. So I see that. Close that one out. Okay. So if you're here, let me know that you're here. I really appreciate it. Looks like I got one. Yeah, thank you for giving me that that thumbs up there. So here we go. If you're ready, here it comes. So we're like 4 minutes, and I'm trying to give you guys a chance to get in here, because here again, shout out to the Lockhart perspective, because if you have not seen the movie Utopia, you've got to see that movie. It's almost like it was so many of these issues and things that we're dealing with right now rolled up into one. And so I'm going to go ahead and start here in just a second. Okay. So according to this, this is coming from your environmental economist. The environmental economists want to hike price of beef by 56%. Okay. All right. A group of environmental economists in Germany is demanding that huge taxes be imposed on meat products to fight CC, with calls for beef to be 56% more expensive, asserting that livestock is responsible for 13% of greenhouse gas emissions. Researchers from the TU Berlin's Chair of Sustainable Use of Natural Resources are demanding limitations on meat consumption in order to, quote, attain a greenhouse gas neutrality. Quote, livestock farming is a huge contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, soil and water pollution, and precious forests are being cleared for pastures and food crops, end quote, said the leader of the group, Professor Linus Maddock. Quote, evidence suggests that the environmental impacts are so large that the world can't meet climate goals and keep vital ecosystems intact without reducing the consumption of meat, at least in Western high income countries, end quote. You see that? You see your target. This is to me an admission of an agenda here. It's Western. It says at least in Western high income countries. And to me, that identifies that to me singles out, of course, us here, North America. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. All right, so I'm going to keep going here. Maddock wants government to, quote, start thinking about also taxing meat to reduce its consumption, end quote, asserting that it is the, quote, most efficient path to preventing further strain on our planet, end quote. According to the group's model calculations, the direct cost of livestock farming in relation to climate change is as high as $9.21 per kilogram of beef, end quote, reports Remix News. Applying this cost to the price of beef could result in beef products being as much as 56% more expensive. Similarly, poultry would cost 25% more, and lamb and pork would rise by 19%. End quote. Such taxes will, of course, primarily impact the poor, who in many Western countries are already suffering due to rampant food inflation. No doubt the solution to that will be amplifying efforts to encourage everyone to start eating bugs as an alternative and, quote, sustainable, end quote, source of protein. Sustainable, okay? You know, go dig around, start finding your night crawlers or whatnot, okay? It's what you need to do. Okay, hi Marcy T. Thanks so much for coming in. As we previously highlighted, the World Economic Forum. Here you go, Schwab and his friends. And I'm going to update this particular stream with something that's going to match this quite. You'll get the picture. It's kind of a meme, but I think it's appropriate. As we previously highlighted, the World Economic Forum published 2 articles on its website which explored how people could be conditioned to get used to the idea of eating weeds, bugs, and drinking sewage water in order to reduce the CO2 emissions. In January of last year, the EU officially approved the sale of worms as food to be consumed by humans. Last month, Vanderbilt University professor Amanda Little argued that everyone in the world needs to start dining on insects and that the EU's approval of them confirmed a form of, quote, dignity, end quote, to their consumption. All right, Vanderbilt. Yikes. One group of people who won't be eating bugs is technocrat globalists. Despite insisting that everyone else reduce their living standards and ration their meat eating to save the planet, during last year's COP26 summit, attendees enjoyed a menu full of animal-based dishes that were at least double the carbon footprint of the average UK meal. You see, rules for thee and not for me. See, this is what I'm talking about. These people are treating themselves as if they are the overlords and we are just like some kind of boil or something that needs, like we're the bugs that need to be squashed. That's the way they're treating it. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not saying I'm not a physiologist. I didn't study anthropology, but why would, if you look at human beings, if you just even look at our teeth are our teeth have different contours and, dare I say, for lack of a better word, shadings or crevices, or our teeth are nuanced for the consumption of more than just plants. We're not, I wouldn't say that we're, I mean, dare I say, we're not completely omnivores or carnivores, you know, whichever, where do you want to put us? But we're not here to be mowing on like pandas on, you know, ants and and twigs and rubbish that can be found out back. I mean, this is barbaric, and to me, you cannot get grass. You cannot get the right nutrition. You can't get a balance of nutrition if you're eating just if you're eating what they tell you to do. Right, Marcy. To me, these people are have declared war on humanity, and I don't know what it's going to take. This is all about, to me, it's more about this population agenda, and it's also them figuring out how to tax generate more revenue, and for them to line their pockets with. And first of all, I just want to say this is not their freaking world, okay? It's one of the most infuriating things that I had to say when people say, "Oh, in the Golden Coast, you pay for sunshine." Well, it's not your damn sunshine. It's not yours. You didn't create that. You didn't give it, and you can't take it away. These people. That's why I say these people have a serious complex. They have a serious complex. You didn't put it here. You don't get to decide. When people talk about, oh, there's too many people. Well, if you look at the US, a lot of our country is, to me, there's a lot of open land, and with you know who owning over 250, what is it, up in the thousands of acres, with him being the biggest farmland owner, do you think this doesn't appeal, this doesn't play into his plan? If you've ever driven cross country, you will notice that there's land that's just wide open. It's wide open. Am I saying it's all, it can all be cultivated for farm? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there's a lot of uninhabited, to me, I've even seen there's pristine places in this country that have not been touched, or man has not done anything to the land. So I think there's enough nourishment if these people with the power and the money just get their hands off, stop trying to, take over, and stop declaring war on humanity and telling other people how to live their lives and what to do. And I think if you just look at you can go online, do your due diligence. You can Google any crap and hear Gates talking about how he thinks people are happier that don't eat meat, and you can see all the lunacy online that he's contributed to this whole agenda, and it's big part of his own agenda. Yeah, so I'm just saying, but here again, shout out to the Lockhart Perspective. If you're not familiar with her channel, you might want to get over there. But certainly, she and I, we spent some extensive time. We watched the movie Utopia. Utopia had just about, it dealt with a contagion. It dealt with the plant-based agenda. It dealt with so many things. And if you go over, if you get a chance, I think that was on Netflix. I don't know how many series in or whatnot that I ended up watching or dealing with on that. But if you go on there and find that particular series, that not series, if you find it is a series, If you go on there and you find that, you'll see that all of this is kind of rolled up into one series, and it touches on all of this. It talks about the plant-based burgers, and how their elite, the elite starring in the particular series, how he was promoting that, and just their science and what they were using science for, their science, what their science was used for, controlling, manipulating, you name it. Even the youth were not safe in that particular series. They used the children. They used the children that had shortcomings or disabilities to, they used them for their agendas. Very wicked, but very apropos and very timely. Predictive programming. You know, I told you guys over the weekend, KFC, excuse me, it's not what you're thinking. KFC and their plant-based nuggets were being promoted this weekend. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Hello, Derek C. Williams and Marcy T. So yes, and people, they just didn't challenge. They're going to go to McDonald's or KFC and get their plant-based chicken nuggets, and they'll probably be happy with them. I won't. So yeah, they've got a plan for you. So you will not be eating burgers, and I don't know, by the summer, my gosh, between inflation, and what's going to be available, who knows? So I just wanted to share that with you. So I have one more. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I do have one more. So this next one kind of, it actually addresses, it's from wolfstreet.com, and it says, "Dear Mr. Fed Chair Powell, sir, rents are blowing out and people are hurting." Now, this guy, Powell, I don't have any respect for him. I really don't. Sorry about that, guys. I am all of a sudden, I'm on the struggle bus. Okay, so I'll keep going here. All right. Hang on just one second. As I'm actually doing this from like the non-studio here. So hang on just a second. Okay, I do apologize. All right, so according to this, in 34 of the largest 100 cities, rents spiked by 15 to 28%, and tenants to pay for your reckless monetary policies that made the wealthy far wealthier. All right, so shout out to Marcy T. What is it people were talking about? Was it BlackRock and whoever else? I mean, look at California, for crying out loud. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting to be a point where I'm speaking to somebody. I just spoke to somebody on the phone who said that they moved from the Bay Area last year to the area that I'm in right now. Well, just generally, but not necessarily the area that I'm in. But they moved to the South. Okay, but that's another place where these rent, I mean, it's probably higher than that. But 34 of the 100, more than a third of the largest cities. But even, I'm telling you, even the smaller cities are starting to be affected, because the demand is gone up. I sincerely apologize for this. I was not having this issue. In January, the median asking rent for one-bedroom apartments increased by 10% or more in 56 of the 100 largest cities in the U.S. compared to a year earlier. In 34 of the 100 largest cities, one-bedroom rents spiked by 15% or more. In 20 of those cities, rents spiked by 20% or more. And in 11 of them, rents spiked by 25% or more. Many of the cities with the largest year over year spikes are medium sized cities with more modest incomes. Okay, so this one is addressing, they have a graph for you. This is wolfstreet.com. At the top is Fresno, California, where the median asking rent for a one bedroom apartment in January skyrocketed by 28% in 12 months and by 41% in 2 years, from $1,000 in January 2020 to $1,410 in 2022, according to the data from the Zumpers National Rent Report. Rent increases like this are nuts. Okay, this is a serious freaking problem, Mr. Chair Powell, sir. These renters are not wealthy people who made millions or billions of dollars thanks to your radical monetary policies. These are working stiffs that now get to pay for your policies that made the already wealthy far wealthier. In the U.S. overall, to my point, across the 100 largest markets, the median asking rent for one bedroom apartments jumped by 12% year over year, according to Zumper's National Index. The index for two bedroom rents jumped by 14%. Quote, asking rents are advertised rents for apartments listed at various rental listing services, including multiple listing service. They show the current price of the market like a price tag. They don't include rents that tenants have been paying for months or years. Zumper's data is limited to apartments in multifamily buildings and do not include single family houses for rent. Quote, median, end quote, means that half of the apartments are listed at higher rents and half are listed at lower rents. Can you even imagine a 20% or 25% increase in rent, Mr. Chair Powell, sir? When your pay goes up a glorious 6%, what that would require of your belt tightening strategies. Okay, so according to this, these are the 34 cities of the largest 100 cities where the median asking rent for a one bedroom apartment spikes by 15 to 28% year over year, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, sir, these are massive crushing rent increases that are now hitting a lot of people who are struggling to pay for them. If your pay goes up 6% and your rent goes up 25%, Mr. Chair, you're screwed, sir. But that's what is happening now. So here you are. They give you a whole chart. I'll just give you some of the cities here. I'm not going to read all of these. And of course, San Diego made the list. So the cities as goes Fresno, Scottsdale, Fresno, California, Scottsdale, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, Knoxville, Tennessee, Boston, Mass, Glendale, Arizona, Tampa, Florida, Austin, Texas, Miami, Florida, New York, Anchorage, Alaska, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Mesa, Arizona, Boise, Idaho, St. Petersburg, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, Jacksonville, Florida, Gilbert, Arizona, Henderson, Nevada, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Laredo, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Detroit, Michigan, Irving, Texas, El Paso, Texas, Bakersfield, California, Raleigh, North Carolina, Lincoln, Nebraska, Plano, Texas, Tucson, Arizona, San Diego, California, Denver, Colorado, Chandler, Arizona, and Reno, Nevada. So many of these, the year over year is up as high as 28.2%, with the lowest ones being at 15% year over year. So I'm doing a little bit of analysis myself, but these are one bedrooms, ranging from 1410. See, some of these places like Bakersfield, some of these are armpit. Those towns are like armpit towns. It's not just, it's not just the major cities. Okay? It's not. But it is up. Okay? So they talked about rents didn't spike in all cities. In San Francisco, the median asking rent rose 6% year over year in January to $2,850, but has been relatively stable for the past 8 months, and it is still down 23% from the peak in June 2019. But that peak in 2019 at $3,720 was totally crazy. It was locally called the quote housing crisis, end quote, because middle class San Franciscans couldn't afford to rent a one bedroom apartment. So this drop in rents brought some much needed relief to renters and to the rest of the local economy because it leaves the renters a little bit of money to spend on other things. Okay, so this thing kind of breaks down quite a this is a I think pretty good article. It goes up to like 100 more cities. It gives you a bunch of charts and graphs and data that they've collected, but they are really they this is a disaster. I mean, places like San Francisco, a lot of people already have like three or four jobs, which they don't have enough hours in a day to work, quite honestly. You got people waiting tables, but then they scoot from that to another job just to pay rent. So, there's a lot of blowback on this, a lot of response to this if you check out wolfstreet.com. But I'm telling you, they're crushing us, I tell you. And I see no light. I see no postage stamp. All I see is a bunch of people doing interviews and investigations. And, that's all I see. Or censoring this person we're going to censor this person on the floor. It's really, but the point that I was making earlier to me, it kind of speaks to what I was saying before. It's like they are trying to crush the economies and crush the people of the West. It's like we're gonna pay dearly across the board. Ooh, Derek C. Williams, thanks so much for posting that in there. But yeah, Schwab and Gates and the party of Davos. I haven't been on the World Economic Forum because I've been going on there quite a bit previously, but the blueprint has been out. I mean, in fact, they invite you to join them, and to join them, you know, for their meetings. Or of course, if you have money, you could have gone to one of their meetings, whatever. But why would the average person is not going to do that. However, I just thought those little pieces were interesting. I'm gonna read some comments in here. Thank you guys so much for taking a break with me. Marcy T. Marcy T says this is an agenda against humans by these hubristic, evil, mad scientists. Mind thy own business. Derek C. Williams says everything is racist. Nice to see you, Derek C. Williams. And Marcy T says no one will be safe. Right. Without a doubt. Marcy T says no one believes in propaganda. It just don't happen, they say. We need to teach a class how to pick up when you're being brainwashed and propagandized. I have an article, something from Citizen from Free Speech. I have something from Patrick Wood today that I'm going to be posting. Propaganda, like basically how you can kind of, sniff it out, I guess. Hi, Paul Graves. Thank you so much for tuning in. I did see something about, God, they're going to shoot 'em ups. And I'm not talking about, Westerns. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. RCT says, Lockstep has many, many facets, including climate change, cons acts, Russia. Their goal is to scare us to death to control. Yeah, I noticed that, when I came on, I was just trying to give you guys a chance to get in here, but I think that, I didn't use the word, I think the words climate, CC, that's going to be a buzzword to avoid. I only use that from the article is when I used that today. So, but I didn't include that in the actual titles. But yeah, these people have a God complex, and destruction is what they want to do. If they make everybody weak if everybody's poor, financially and subservient and less and has less strength, you need protein. You need substantial protein, and their agenda is opposite of that. I mean, you can't be out. You can't really work off of bugs and was a silly professor from these people believe their own hype. I didn't think they did, but I'm starting to think they do. So, but yeah, I guess you got to continue the stock to do what you're doing and make sure you have protein, because I have no idea what the summer is going to look like. I am seeing more footage that a lot of these stores the shelves are very empty, whether it's milk that you're looking for, or whether you're looking for milk, whether you're looking for chicken, whatever it is that you prefer. It's just not, I'm seeing a lot of empty shelves. I'm seeing them, across social media, I'm seeing a lot more empty shelves. All right, guys, I do appreciate you guys so much for coming on. Marcy T says, and brain food. Proteins are the growing blocks of the body. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Derek C. Williams. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we are in for it. We really are. But hang in there, and I guess I'll check in with you guys later. But like I said, if you haven't seen the movie Utopia, there's a lot of, who was that recommended Last Days? I saw that on, I haven't seen it, but I saw the like a little trailer clip or something on their site. I don't choose to support Netflix, but I think I did support them at one time, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much for coming in, and thank you for your patience, and I will see you guys on the next we'll see. We'll see if it's another Black Spring Mobile, or we'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and get your protein in.